I'm Craig Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different and every breakup is different. Work with me and you'll get professional help on your situation. And if you're in no contact, focused on personal growth, my workbook series, The Knowledge, will help you make changes like you've never made before. Available now at AskCraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
I'm Coach Margaret.
And today we're going to be talking about, does my ex miss me as much as I miss them? I think this is something that just about everybody wonders about and worries about.
Absolutely, yep.
And somebody gave us the idea in an email. They sent us a real quick suggestion. They said, "Hi Craig and Margaret, I am a big fan of the channel. I love how insightful you and your videos are. I have been telling all my friends about you." Well, thank you so much.
Yes,
we always
thank you.
appreciate that. And one of the things that I found is that, when the people share our videos with their friends and family start to kind of like grow and change.
Yes.
And then they start to be some more supportive with the breakup.
Right.
And understanding, right?
Yep.
So it's always helpful. I have one question that I don't think I've seen you cover before, and I was hoping you could talk about it. Do you think our exes miss us as much as we miss them?
Our exes being the ones who broke up with us.
Yes.
Okay.
And so, this is a really tricky situation, and we were thinking about it, and the answer is kind of yes and no.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
It just depends upon when.
Right.
Okay? So in the beginning, at first, after they've broken up with you, in probably most cases, they feel relieved. Right?
Right.
They have been dealing with some kind of internal struggle that you didn't know about, maybe for an extended period of time. Could be a lot of different reasons. Maybe they were unhappy with things that you were doing in the relationship. Maybe they were unhappy with things you weren't doing in the relationship. You weren't meeting their needs. You were too controlling. There's so many different reasons, but something was going on with them. And maybe they didn't tell you that. Maybe you didn't know what the struggle was.
Right.
So that a lot of times can be confusing and devastating, right?
Right.
And a lot of times the avoidant will do that.
The avoidant will do that.
Mm-hmm. Right? Like the anxious person is always trying to repair and reconnect, so you usually know what's going on with them.
Because they can't keep it to themselves.
Exactly.
It's the avoidance who'll not tell you.
Yeah, the avoidance. And I was thinking about it, and every girl that's ever broken up with me was avoidant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, like the Applebee's girl was
Yes.
more avoidant. Now,
Yes,
she
she
wasn't
was.
too
Yes,
on the
she was.
extreme avoidant, but she was more avoidant,
Yep.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And back then, I didn't understand the attachment style stuff, right? So, they are going through some struggle that you don't know about. Maybe you've been making them feel smothered and they couldn't handle it anymore. Or maybe it was them themselves. I think one of the big reasons that the Applebee's girl broke up with me is because the idea of getting married again scared her.
Yes.
And she knew that I wanted to get married, and I didn't even bring up marriage or engagement or anything, but in her mind,
Right.
it was coming.
Yep.
As
She
soon
was
as
not ready.
exactly. The divorce is going to be finalized. In her mind, impending doom, Craig will propose to me. Mm-hmm. Which really I didn't care about, but it didn't matter. It was how she was feeling about it.
Right.
Okay? And that's the important thing, is about that internal struggle. Doesn't matter if you've actually done anything or not. If they're feeling it,
Mm-hmm.
it's there.
Yes, and it's real.
Yeah. So, initially, they have that sense of relief. I needed to do this.
I got it over with.
I got it over with.
Done.
I had to do this. I couldn't be in this situation anymore. Now, a lot of times, we do the begging, the pleading, the grand gesture, the handwritten letter. We propose, we buy them gifts, we do all of these things, and then of course it makes them feel worse about the situation, and now they're feeling guilty. They don't want, but that's not attraction. You don't want them to feel guilty. They're feeling guilty about it. They've hurt you. They don't like to see you losing your mind over the situation.
Sure not.
And so now they're like, oh God, and then if you're harassing them, then it just makes them more angry and frustrated. And so now they're not going to miss you yet, okay? Because they're aggravated. They want you to leave them alone.
You know, I told him I wanted him out of my life and he won't go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's why we guys always talk about, you know, exploring going no contact for your situation, right? There are some situations where you don't need to. It just depends. But in most cases, it's the best way to go. Leave that person alone to deal with their decision.
Yeah.
And think about it, right?
And it's really the most respectful thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
This person has said, I need a break, or I need to break up with you forever. And you're honoring that.
But it is hard as hell to do.
Very hard. Yeah.
It's probably the hardest thing I've ever had to deal with.
Right.
And I think most people will tell me that.
Yeah.
You know? You leave them alone, you give them space and time, and then they can start to miss you.
That's the idea.
Mm-hmm.
And people feel better the minute I tell them the goal is to get the person to the point where they miss you. Oh, because they're all gung-ho.
Yeah.
What can you tell me that I can do that's going to fix this?
Well, we can tell you what to do as a strategy.
Yes.
And what to do, because we're going to look at what went wrong.
Yep.
And that's important.
Very
because
important.
most of the people out there don't know why they've been broken up with.
Right.
So we're looking at that, and so when we can piece together what went wrong, we can piece together what you got to do to repair it.
Right.
Okay? And there's a lot of things you can do, right? It's just a matter of timing and being patient, right? But a lot of times, that person is going to need months to miss you.
Right.
Especially if you've really blown up their phone, stalked them, harassed them. Mm-hmm. That just makes the situation harder to turn around, of course.
So,
I mean,
as long as they're angry at you, they're not going to miss you.
yeah.
So we're saying give them the space to miss you.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose they could be angry at you and miss you, but, you know, it's harder to,
It's harder.
right? Yeah. But, you know, it's so hard for you because you were powerless in this decision. In most cases. They did it. They broke up with you. They ended it. And now you feel powerless, devastated. You have no control over the situation. And, you know, meanwhile, it was their decision. So it feels like they have 100% control. You have 0% control. Not very balanced.
Right.
Right? So when you're in this kind of situation, you know, they're feeling like, well, I don't miss them yet. I'm happy. I'm happier right now.
Right.
I'm happy with my decision. But oftentimes, when you leave them alone and they get that space, they will miss you too.
And then there's always that next holiday that rolls around.
Exactly. Or your birthday.
Yes,
or that
their
movie
birthday. Yeah.
that they knew you wanted to see. Or that vacation that was planned in a couple of months that you were supposed to go on together.
Right.
You would be surprised how many times when I'm hearing a success story that the ex will say to the partner, I thought about you every day. And sometimes it's even years later. Right?
Right.
I mean,
Yes,
I think there was
yes.
the woman that sent me the email, I think it would have been 35 years.
35 years.
And the guy said to her, I thought about you every single day.
Right.
I thought about you, and why did it take him so long to reach out? Who knows?
We might have been married and have 12 children
Exactly.
by that time, yeah.
But oftentimes, you know, that person does think about you all the time. And they will stalk your social media.
Yeah.
You don't think they are because they're not doing it as much as you in most cases, but they are. It doesn't feel like it, but they are.
Remember, 35 years ago, there was no social media.
Exactly, yeah.
It
Yeah.
was airmail or nothing.
Yeah. But yeah, they are going to miss you in time. Now, not everybody is going to be in this position, okay? Because some situations, there may have been something that happened that the person just said, I have to move forward. I can't go back on this. Of course. I mean, we can't put a video that fixes everything in it, right? There's no magic to it. But in most cases, that person has been with you for an extended amount of time. They really valued you. They probably saw you as somebody that they were going to marry or have kids with or have a future with. And
they're not going to forget you.
No, they're not going to forget you. No, they really do not forget you. Right. And I know that really worries everybody. So, they do think about you. They don't think about you as much, but that doesn't mean they don't think about you.
But with time, you're probably going to get into their consciousness. Yeah.
And that's when their behavior often will escalate. And they finally get the courage to do the indirect, direct approach.
How is your cat?
Exactly. How is the cat? Have you seen this item? I think I left it over there. Any kind of excuse.
Right.
Because they're afraid of rejection too. Now the great thing that you have to your advantage, and I will really stand behind this, Margaret, is that the people that have broken up with have really worked on themselves.
We certainly hope so, and we certainly encourage them to.
But the people that have done the breaking up very rarely stay motivated.
Right.
They just don't have that motivation in them. And so you're going to grow tremendously, and they're going to grow maybe a little bit. And sometimes not at all. Sometimes we see them regress.
Yeah.
I mean, how oftentimes do you hear that their partner looks awful, they've put on a ton of weight, they're depressed, they quit their job, right?
Yep.
And then you wind up thinking, I can't believe it. I'm doing better than them, but I'm dying inside. And they don't, all they have to do is call me.
That's all they have to do. Right? We hear it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, you have to understand that behind the scenes, there's a lot of information that we get day in and day out from you guys when we talk, and we get updates from you guys that we see. Yeah, exes will come back and report, I thought about you every day. I missed you all the time. They didn't, for whatever reason, have the courage or just didn't feel right to reach out, but it doesn't mean that they weren't thinking about you too. And they got to get to the point where they're scared of losing you.
Yeah, exactly. When you're more distant than they're comfortable with.
Yeah, exactly.
Your words, I believe.
Yeah,
yes,
absolutely. So, you know, you just want to focus on being the best version of yourself, and that way, when they come back around again, they're blown away by your progress, and you can showcase the best version of yourself.
The work that you've done.
Yeah, and they're going to be drawn to it. They really will. And, you know, you get in front of them again. I had a girl recently that I'm really hoping for a success story from, who said she doesn't think she has any chance. And she got in front of her ex. They met up, and she said she did a really good job. And from what we described, because we went over it, we did a Skype call, an emergency Skype, to go over the whole details of the date. And it sounds like she did a great job. And he even said, wow, you've really changed. And so I'm hoping he starts to miss her and wants to work things out again. And believe me, if I get a success story on that one, you guys are going to hear about that one right away. Yeah. Because it is a case that I brought up in a video coaching before.
Okay.
So,
and he said, how could she do this well without me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's not doing well at all.
I want some of whatever she got.
Yeah, he's depressed, and it fell apart with the rebound already. And she said to me on our emergency call, almost identically to what you predicted, fell apart in almost the exact amount of same time. And now he's depressed over it, confused over it, but he's like, this new rebound isn't what I thought it was going to be. And now she's looking good, so I'm hoping we get a success story.
It sounds like it's coming. Yeah.
Well, we'll see. But just trust the process. Trust that you're working on yourselves and becoming the best version of you. So when they see this, they are going to be blown away. And once that process gets rolling, they'll start to think about you more and more.
And remember, the process is a grief process, right? On both sides.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Talk about that for a minute, because they need to know that the person that did the breaking up will also grieve.
Also grieves. I don't know if you remember, but a while ago we did a whole presentation on that.
Mm-hmm.
But the person who does the breaking up also grieves. Because they thought it was better to move on does not mean they didn't love you. And that's one of the first responses that we get is, how could they have broken up with me if they loved me? They easily could have. People break up for very many different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So they're grieving too. It just takes them longer. If they're the one who did the breaking up, you feel the loss right away. It takes them longer to realize you're not there.
Yep.
Yep.
Absolutely. All right. So hopefully you found this video helpful. Of course, when you want to get our help personally, just go to my website, askcraig.net. Sign up for the coaching option that works best for you. I do email coaching and I do Skype. Margaret is also available for Skype coaching.
Feel free to sign up with me. I'd love to talk with you.
Make sure you subscribe to the channel. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
I'm Coach Margaret.
And we will talk with you soon.